Дуже дякую, дуже дякую. Дуже дякую.
Chairman,
Пане голово,
Shunuk, dear members of the Verkhovna Rada, it's a great honor and pleasure to be here and to meet with all of you. It is an honor to address this House once again. 7 years ago, I became the first Secretary General to address the Ukrainian Parliament. Today marks the third time I have had this privilege. And for the third time, I will quote the great Ukrainian poet Taras Shevchenko. He wrote, "Our soul shall never perish, freedom knows no dying, and the greedy cannot harvest fields where seeds are lying." Ladies and gentlemen, Ukraine's freedom cannot, must not, and will not die. Allow me, therefore, to express my deep appreciation and respect to all of you, and through you, the people of Ukraine. I also pay tribute to your brave women and men in uniform and to all the fallen. We will never forget their sacrifice. Here in this chamber, along the front lines and all over the country, Ukrainians are fighting for freedom, to defend your land and your loved ones, but also to defend democratic values. Legitimate government requires the consent of the people. Legitimate decisions are taken with ballots, not bullets. The same values at the heart of NATO. Prizing the force of law rather than the law of force. The regime in Moscow does not share these values. In Russia, thought is controlled, freedom curtailed, and opposition crushed. As Russia becomes more repressive at home, it has become more aggressive abroad and more aligned with other authoritarian powers. Just days before the brutal invasion of Ukraine, President Putin and President Xi signed an agreement of no-limits partnership. Today, China is propping up Russia's war economy, providing key capabilities like semiconductors, microelectronics, and satellite imagery. This enables Russia to build the missiles and to build the bombs they're using to kill Ukrainians. In return for this support, Moscow is mortgaging its future to Beijing. Meanwhile, just over the past 6 months, North Korea has provided 10,000 containers with at least 1 million shells of artillery rounds. And Iran is delivering thousands of deadly Shahed drones to Russia. In return, Russia is providing technology and supplies to advance Iranian and North Korean missiles and nuclear capabilities. Moscow, Beijing, Tehran, and Pyongyang must not believe that they can get their way by using force. They must understand that democracies are strong, that we have staying power, and that we stand for our values. That is why Ukraine's fight is so important. You fight not only for yourselves, but for the freedoms we all treasure. So let me say from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much to Ukraine. Thank you. Thank you so much. NATO allies have provided unprecedented support to Ukraine over the past 2 years. 99% of all military aid. But in recent months, NATO allies did not provide the support we promised. For months, the United States was unable to agree a package of support. And European allies delivered far less ammunition than we said we would. These delays have had consequences, and you know that better than anyone else. Ukraine has been outgunned, so Russia has pushed forward on the front lines. Ukraine has lacked air defense, so more Russian missiles and drones have hit their targets. Ukraine has lacked deep precision strike, so Russia has been able to concentrate more forces. But it's not too late for Ukraine to prevail. More support is on the way. I chaired an urgent meeting of defense ministers in the NATO-Ukraine Council a few days ago. President Zelensky addressed us. Allies understood the urgency and agreed to step up support. Last week, the United States agreed a new package which provides over $60 billion worth of aid, including critical air defense and artillery ammunition. Also last week, when we were together in Poland, Prime Minister Sunak announced the UK's largest delivery yet, including dozens of combat boats, hundreds of vehicles, thousands of missiles, and millions of rounds of ammunition. Germany will deliver an additional Patriot system. The Netherlands is contributing an additional €4 billion. Other allies are looking into what more they can provide. I expect further announcements soon, including to meet our critical need for air defense. I have been clear that if allies face a choice between meeting NATO capability targets or supporting Ukraine, they should support Ukraine. And at the same time put in place plans to refill the stocks. Stocks can and will be replenished. Lives lost can never be regained. To replenish our stocks, we need to produce more. So I welcome that allies are stepping up defense production and also working to produce together with Ukraine. We also have to put our support on a more robust and long-term footing. At the Washington summit in July, I expect leaders will agree to a greater NATO role in coordinating security assistance and training for Ukraine. I believe we also need a major multi-year financial commitment to sustain this support, to demonstrate that our support to Ukraine is not short-term and ad hoc, but long-term and predictable. This would send a clear message to Moscow. They cannot win and they cannot wait us out. To prevail, Ukraine needs material, and I'm confident allies will now deliver. Ukraine must also do its part, most importantly, to generate and sustain your fighting force. So I welcome the new legislation you have introduced to ensure the Ukrainian armed forces have the personnel you need. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the Verkhovna Rada, Ukraine's rightful place is in NATO. Ukraine's future Thank you. Ukraine's future is in NATO, and Ukraine will become a member of NATO. This is the way to guarantee your security for the long term. Ukraine, democratic, sovereign and free, anchored within our transatlantic alliance. This matters for the security of all allies. I have to be honest and tell you that I cannot tell you when Ukraine will join. But the work we are doing together now, including on reforms and on the fight against corruption, puts you on an irreversible path to the alliance. Unlike the EU, an invitation to join NATO comes at the end of the process. My ambition is that together we will make Ukraine so strong, so interoperable, and so well prepared that when the time is right, Ukraine will become a NATO member straight away. I very much look forward to that day, and I will continue to do all I can to ensure it arrives as soon as possible. So, members of the Rada, Ukraine continues to face a terrible test. The democratic world is also being tested. We must meet this moment together for your security, for our security, and for the undying freedom of Ukraine. Thank you. Slava Ukraini.